Is Mufaro Mbudzi, and I come from Zimbabwe, and you are absolutely welcome to get my name wrong the first 5, 6, 7 times. Everybody does it. It's the new trend apparently, and I'm really enjoying SFU. It's a great school, and one thing I must commend is the person who put the WQB requirements in place. It's basically that you have to do subjects that are outside of your focus and your specific degree. And I actually realized this just yesterday when I was speaking to this girl, and she had never done science in her life. She was her first year, and by the end of the conversation, I realized that her idea of the recessive gene is genes that have holes at the knees. In another example, an extreme case, I was speaking to this guy, and a real maths and science junkie, and he likes to complicate everything. And he was telling me about his holiday, and he's like, I was playing Xbox with my cousins, brothers, sisters, nephews, aunts, nieces, sister. And I was like, dude, isn't that just your cousin? And he's like, cousin, what's that? And I'm like the second derivative. And he's like, oh. So, having come from Zimbabwe, it's definitely a change for me. And recently, one of my worst fears has come true, and that's the fact that people actually think my country is like a village inside a province called South Africa, inside a country called Africa. But I'm here to say, Africa is actually a continent, and it's got 50-something distinguishable nations. And, I had this awkward conversation the first week of school. This girl was like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm actually from Zimbabwe. And she's like, oh, that's that village in northern Somalia. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Exactly. That's that village. And then I asked her, where are you from? And she's like, oh, actually, I'm Canadian, and I grew up in Calgary, but I came here for school. And I'm like, oh, Calgary. That's that bus station in downtown Vancouver. Now, having come from a foreign land, recently I've been thinking about writing a book because I want to be an author. And actually I'm thinking of writing it like a dictionary, and the title will be The International Student Handbook for International Students in Canadian Institutions. Now, this idea came about because there are certain terms I wasn't familiar with when I came to the country. For example, I thought Dropbox was another name for the washroom. And it was weird because I was starting to think, how is this word subtly creeping into every sentence that just in daily life of society, like I heard people saying, just upload your files to Dropbox, just throw everything on there, put all your documents, put your homework on Dropbox. And I was like, okay, that's pretty strange. Another thing
Yeah. I'm not gonna